Yellow. Recently, Paul Tassi wrote an article on Forbes about his 5 most over-nerfed things in Destiny 2. I want to talk about this because I agree with some and disagree with some. There's 5 total. I'm gonna go through the list and just kind of talk about them. Starting with Hunter Dodge. He writes, "This was a change made mainly for PvP that has made hunters feel pretty awful inside of PvE. Hunters may not be a huge damage dealers, but their consistent dodging and ability to invisible frequently gave them some assets, but with the dodge nerfs, a bunch of their exotics no longer work, as well as they're fundamentally changed the flow of the class across every mode. Bungie has said that some of their subclass changes may make more sense once further changes are made in Witch Queen, but so far this one feels bad." Well, let's talk about it. Let's start with, yes, I get where you're coming from on that front, but you can actually go invis more because they buffed other sides of the game. Like, if you go look at Bottom Tree, Tether, you're able to go invis more often, Graviton Forfeit allows it more often, and if you simply build your class, even with dodge spamming, you can dodge more often if you just build it. A lot of people don't understand that concept. Like, you can't dodge more than before, of course, but you can still dodge very frequently if you really want to. And hunters definitely have other viable options. You don't just need to dodge spam. Yeah, you can no longer just sit. You can no longer sit as far back as you can running around the map invis with invis dodge anymore. Now you need to actually think about your build. So I disagree with this one. I don't think it actually feels that bad. I main hunter in PvE and PvP currently. I'm moving away from it, but I've mained hunter for a while, and I don't think hunter feels that bad currently. Going on to number 2, another hunter one, Hunter Blade Barrage. He writes, "How bad are things for hunters in PvE these days? They're starting to get banned from LFG groups because they don't offer the utility of Titan or Warlock. Tether is weaker than it once was. Celestial's fine, but worse than Thundercrash or Nova Bomb in most contexts. But what I really think Hunter needs in return is a return to form for Blade Barrage. Not really all that great for anything except Atheon spam, maybe. Blade Barrage has had both its damage and utility nerfed over time. Shards can no longer refill it, and really, what Blade Barrage needs is a serious damage buff. I'd love to see to get the Thundercrash achievement where that Titan Super got both native buffs and an exotic Curus to take it into top tier. Sorry for my reading. It's early and I'm struggling. But, well, I understand this one, but I still disagree with it. I don't think Blade Barrage needs a DPS up. I don't think DPS is what it is. I think it's utility. The power fantasy of Blade Barrage has always been being able to burn your targets, use Blade Barrage to clear ads. That's why Galanor is built around hitting targets, not actually hitting targets and getting kills, because you want to spread it out. I think Blade Barrage's biggest problem is it doesn't have enough uptime on the grenade itself. I think to really spam the abilities, it needs something to also increase its grenade. Like if Knife Trick also gave grenade energy instead of just dodge or blade energy, I think it would severely benefit from that. I don't think it needs the Thundercrash treatment because I think Celestial needs buffed in that sense. I think Celestial should be Hunter's big burst damage. I would personally love to see Celestial be like an execute, but that's not important right now. And on the previous statement of dodge feeling like shit, Blade Barrage helps with that a lot. You're able to spam dodge with Blade Barrage. Like if you want to use something like Gemini Gestures in PvE to blind all your targets, just burn shit, like throw a knife, throw an incendiary, and start dodging like a motherfucker. You're gonna hit everything in the area, and then you finish things off, you kill them. It feels really good to be able to dodge spam like that. Another thing for Blade Barrage is if you could use a Spaith to get even more knives, even more burn, even more dodge, even more ability spam. And then if you run things like the Void ones that give the Void arm mods that give you grenade, or give you dodge energy, a grenade or melee hit, you can get your dodge even more. And then if you run the other ones that they're spamming your grenade or melee, you can do that even more. In my opinion, it feels great. And you can run Dynamo to get the super even more often. I think a big disconnect is, like with me in this article, is I play Destiny for the build crafting. Before my build didn't matter. Now my ability builds, my exotic choice, my mod choice, it all matters so much more. And I think that adds so much more depth into the game that it didn't have before. Number 3, Tier 1 Super Regen. Paul Tassi has written, "Another casualty of PvP balancing. It seems while I understand the idea that powerful roaming super shouldn't be up as often in PvP, guess where that feels terrible? You guessed it, PvE, making those even less valuable there. Where many are already not amazing, Tier 1 supers are the slowest regen, including Spectral Blades, Fist of Havoc, Hammer of Soul, Glacier Quake, Winter's Wrath. For instance, when I was trying to use Glacier Quake, build on Titan and Gambit for the first time in a while, the new recharge time meant that I could not even get a single super in 90% of my games. Win or lose, I think the Tier 1 supers have been taken a little too far down the road here under this new system. Okay. Sorry, I should be thinking on the spot with all these. I didn't write a script or anything. Okay. I see. It comes back to the build crafting, right? I like this change because I like my neutral game mattering, and if I want to build these supers faster, I can. I might throw a clip in the background of me building the super he used was it Glacial Quake. Yeah, I'll try to throw a quick super region build on Glacial Quake and see how fast I can get it. But across the board, you're not getting a super 90% of your games in Gambit. I think that might be a you problem. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a shithead, but I think I'll test this and I'll throw up a clip if I can get it in a reasonable amount of time. And if not, I will stand corrected and put a caption saying so. And a lot of these have such strong neutral game that I don't think they need the super uptime. But I do see the want for more super uptime. I want to try these out. And see, because I don't use much of these supers. Hammer is usually the only one. Number 4 is Xenophage. He has written, look, I get that Xenophage was strong before, but man, it feels terrible now. With the RPM changes, I've never had a gun go from one of my favorites to my least favorites this quickly. Machine guns are still not where they need to be in terms of boss damage, and Xenophage used to be the exception to that, but no longer. I really don't think that this was a problem where it was before, so I'd just like to put it back. Thanks. I could not agree with this one more. I don't know if it needs to get put back. I think Bungie just need to elaborate on what they want out of this. Because if they want Xenophage to be a major clear, a burst damage, then that's fine, but I'd like them to tell us that, because they said it just felt too strong with the changes that were made to LMGs across the board. But in my opinion, I think Xenophage they either need to elaborate on what they want Xenophage to be and then start to go stronger in that direction, or they need to, like he said, revert it. I'm personally a big fan of Xenophage where it was, and I don't think it's that awful now, because now I kind of use it for Warmind spawning. That's really all. I use it for Wrath Rasputin and debuff Warmind cells, and I use something else like a Slug or a Fusion for my DPS option. But yeah, Xenophage definitely got hit really hard, and I do agree that its RPM change just didn't make sense to most people. I think it needs either a more damage increase so it's more spec than the burst damage or something along those lines. But we will have to see. Number 5, Dusk Field Grenades. Of all the items on this list, this may not seem to be the most pressing, but I'd argue it's the worst feeling nerf of any of them in context. The entire point of the Dusk Field Grenade in PvE was its extremely great vortex effect that sucked enemies in. While that was out of control in PvP for a while, the latest nerf meant that it no longer has any vortex effect in PvP, just a little slow freeze globe, and it feels terrible compared to the other two options. Absolutely was the wrong call to remove the vortex in PvE, and I don't understand what that change was made. I don't understand why that change was made in the first place. I don't know. I think Dusk Fields are the best grenades right now. I mean, yeah, no, I think Dusk Field grenades are the best right now for PvP. I mean, I think Glacianate is up there if you build around it, but by itself, Dusk Fields are the best. Especially with Touch of Winter on Hunter, but I guess you're not talking about that. I'm trying to think of why it would feel like such shit. Yeah, no, I still think Dusk Fields are one of the best grenades for PvE and PvP. Cold Snaps are the worst by far. Glacier Nades are utility based, so if you're good with them, they get more value, of course. But that's kind of the idea. Dusk Fields are brain dead. You kind of just throw at something and you prevent its movement, you slow it, and you weren't pulling in the things you really wanted to pull in the first place before. You weren't pulling in your champions, and that's kind of what you use Dusk Fields for, is to nuke champions, keep them slowed and keep them freeze chaining. I mean. Yeah, no, I don't think Dusk Fields feel bad at all. I think Dusk Fields are fine. I'm really trying to think of why. I'm trying to think of a reason for why they would Paul would think that. No, I'm sorry. I can't. I just don't think they're that shit. I think Cold Snaps are significantly worse across the board. Their tracking feels like ass now. They ran most of the time they don't hit what you're trying to throw them at. They just kind of speed off in a random direction. I don't know. And I want to real quick. I want to go back to the dodge changes. I'm not gonna bring it up again. I'm not gonna bring it up on the screen again. I just want to say something about it. When the projectile tracking change was a hotfix was put in place to fix it in PvE, so it actually broke projectile tracking. So I do believe that Bungie intended for that to be the strength of Hunter Dodge. I think the nerf is 100% intended from what I can tell. And well, yep, I'm gonna have to throw that if I ended up getting that quick Titan gameplay, I'll throw it here at the end. Or quick super regen on Glacial Quake, I'll throw it here at the end. And if I didn't, I'll throw up a caption calling myself a dumbass. Have a good one.
Invader is down. You can breathe. Your allies back. They're fine, but so is the other. Hostiles at the ring. High value target identified. Get him. Fellow Guardians, I can hear them scream. Portal's up. Go take them out. They're being invaded. Find them before they find you. Invaders down. They're coming back to you.